Hey guys, Christmas Lighting here, and I am going to be doing something a little bit different today. Today is the first ever review of an SH Monsterarts Godzilla figure, but no, it's not going to be this guy for very obvious reasons, but I put him here for aesthetic reasons and because there is something else. I was going to originally play music, but I decided not to for copyright reasons, and I had this whole thing of showing almost every single Godzilla that I have in my collection that's been made from SH Monsterarts. Starting off with Godzilla 54, which we all know the backstory. Risen in Tokyo, kind of destroyed it a little bit, and then got killed by the Oxygen Destroyer. And then from there, he came back, fought Anguirus, show series, yada yada yada. And well, since this is the 50th anniversary of Godzilla, for not necessarily, but for the figure I'm doing, so might as well. Let's see how this will go. And voila. Yep, for this little review, I am actually going to be reviewing SH Monsterarts Godzilla 2004 from the best Godzilla movie that Toho has made, in my opinion, Godzilla Final Wars. Now, I want to let you guys know if you want to pick up this figure. This figure does not come with an atomic breath, or a spiral breath, or a Gotengo, or anything. He only comes with this, which I will go into articulation, and also what I think about this figure here in a moment. But I'm just letting you know, I personally picked this figure up because I love Final Wars. I'm a fan of the movie, and it goes really well with my Gigan figure, which I'll get into for size comparisons and probably put in like Ultraman in there to see how this version of Godzilla stacks up with either. Most likely will be Tiga because Trigger and I still have trouble setting him up. So anyway, let's begin. Now, first things first with Godzilla, his paint is extremely well. Like, it has a nice charcoal black, and this face is basically good for Final Wars Godzilla. I mean, he looks like Final Wars Godzilla. If you hit the light perfectly against the eyebrows, it actually creates, like, you know, from the movie, the actual black. See, like right there. You can still see like the eye a little bit, but it's like a black slit that's like underneath there, which I always personally like. It gave Godzilla some of that badassery stuff. Comparison to like other Godzillas, I mean, this was supposed to be the 50th anniversary and version of Godzilla, so they took elements from previous Godzillas and kind of put them into this one to make him a more lean and muscular Godzilla rather than just a bulk like Heisei Godzilla, or depending on what suit of Showa your series you're talking about, it's a little bit difficult to describe on what form of Godzilla they took inspirations from. But this was basically the Godzilla that got, you know, Toho to basically put back to some original format. And as you can see with the actual spikes and everything, like, the spikes have a nice, like, Arctic color to it. It's more white, but as you see, like, as it kind of goes down, the black kind of goes into it, like, especially right here. You can see that right here. And then the spikes continue out throughout all the tail. And then, like that. And let's go over articulation. Now, Godzilla. This Godzilla is the most articulated Godzilla ever, which also creates a lot of problems for some people that I've been seeing on YouTube that have been pushing the extremes to what this Godzilla can do and legitimately purposely breaking them. Which I'm like, why? Not only is it idiotic, you could possibly damage the figure, so even though you want to like get this guy like all posed up, do try to be careful. The only loose joints I actually got, which that's been a major problem with this figure from what I've heard of like QCE issues, but the only one I have is the hand. Yeah, the hand is basically a loose joint for me, but everything else is actually pretty good. Now, Godzilla can look this far up, this far down. He can look side to side and lean side to side. His mouth can open this far wide, and the tongue has a nice flesh color sculpt to it. Not skull, but like paint to it. And some of the teeth do look like dirty bone, but my gripe with this is that I wish they clean up the teeth like a little bit better. Let's see if I could get this thing into focus. Yeah, especially on the top ones. Because the top is kind of like, it's still like, problematic, but you can't really notice it from like far away. And you can close the mouth far back. I know a lot of people have been complaining about like the eyebrows and all that stuff, but if you actually look at the Final Wars Godzilla suit, it was asymmetrical. It was asymmetrical like some of the past Godzilla suits. It was supposed to be asymmetrical, which I think they captured it with this figure pretty well. Let's continue on with articulation. My camera is not wanting to work with me today. Arms can go this far out, this far back, this far forward, and like go back down to a static pose. And then the hand, since mine are like have loose joints, I am showing this to you. You might want to grab onto like this or just push down on the hand so that you can at least like get the actual range of the motion in there. But then again, that's just me. Hand could go that far down, that far back, and then, it's on a ball joint. Don't need to go over with his hand, so. Godzilla can kick this far forward. Yeah, which is surprising. But then again, it's Final Wars Godzilla suit. This was Neo Godzilla, Kung Fu Godzilla. This far back, some angle pivot, and then you could just swivel around. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the arms do have a swivel, so you can do swiveling things with it. And then the tail is really nice with articulation. Oop. And, well, that comes to one of my other points. The tail is just like any other past Godzilla release when it comes to stuff like this. You gotta be extra careful with moving it, or else you're going to pop a ball joint out, like I did with that. So, wait a minute. Godzilla? Looks like you're missing a hand. No! And that's just to prove my point on like the loose joints, at least I have in my hands. Sorry, I had to do that because A, it's funny, and B, I am a nerd. So, you push that in, and then bam. Good as new. And you don't need Kiryu anymore, because then you have a fully blown Godzilla that still has loose joints in the hands. I don't know. What would Godzilla look like with, like, Gigan arms? Those are just some of the weird thoughts that come to me on this day. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, too, is that the eyes... Come on, camera. Focus. Focus. And this will be the best I can do for right now. The eyes do have a nice orange skull because in the actual movie, Godzilla does have orange eyes. Why they put orange eyes on him? Well, Burning Godzilla kind of have orange eyes, and so did Heisei Godzilla. But this one's like more fierce, more, I'm ready to kill everyone. And I loved the fact that they killed off the American Godzilla. And if you're going to get hating for me on that one, our first American Godzilla was basically a iguana that eats a lot of fish. But this was a true king of the monsters, and he put fake Godzilla in his place, as I like to call it. Anyway, let's get into size comparisons with other figures. And mainly because it's the 50th anniversary, I had to bring out the first ever Godzilla to actually, compare him with. This is SH Monsterarts Godzilla, 1954 with Godzilla 2004. Both, they stand roughly somewhat similar height. This Godzilla is definitely taller though than him. As you can tell, it just is. And that's basically that with the first Godzilla. And I'm going to now bring in the second Godzilla that I have in my collection. Now, if I could just get him to stand up tall without hitting a lot of my Legos, then guess what? That would actually be fantastic. But it's most likely not going to happen. But, actually, he's standing up straight and tall as much as he can right now. Which is still surprising. Like, okay, moving this carefully up, you can see that that Godzilla is still taller than this guy. Like, so I think that this might be the tallest Godzilla figure that I have in my collection, which I'm happy with. I know that most other people are still not happy with, like, no articulations with it. Well, not articulation, but, like, no special effects with it, or not even Gotengo, but, yeah. So, oh, wait, hang on real quick. Something's coming up. Sorry about that. I am back. And yeah, I had to take care of something real quick. But I am back now. And we're going to continue on with the review. And just for a momentary... Since we have gone over, like, his, like, height from top up, and we saw him against other Godzillas, which he stands pretty tall for most of the Godzillas that are in this actual thing, which I'm glad. And actually, and happy. Because, again, this is my favorite Godzilla, and I'm just happy to have him. And just so that I can continue on with the trend of monsters that Godzilla's fought in his past, let's bring in the one monster that actually got a complete redesign for this actual movie. And, yeah. And here he is next to Gigan! Rise! I always love that little thing. And Gigan is, of course, understandably taller than Godzilla because of the little horn. But, yeah, it's so cool. He's so a cool guy. And just in case, I'm going to show you an extremely special version that this guy can come with if you have this Godzilla, okay? Now watch. This is going to blow your mind. And yes, I'm slightly joking here. See, you just take this, and then you just wiggle. Bam! Now you have whenever Godzilla blows Gigan's head up, or whenever Gigan cuts his own head off. Oh man, those were funny scenes in that movie. But yeah. Funny. Gigan might not think it's funny, but it is. Extremely funny. Anyway, that was with Gigan. And even though I already put up Godzilla 54 here, and I know you're like, where are you going with this? I still have to put him here because even though he's technically Godzilla 54, I'm still going to put him here for a lot of reasons. Mainly because this is also a Godzilla. But mainly, Kiryu. Actually, with this one, it's not too bad. I'm going to put this down again for reasons. Now, Kiryu and Final Wars Godzilla actually stand around the same height, surprisingly. And they're both, like, really well with each other. So, again, if you want to do stop motion animation with just these two guys fighting, you can. I've taken some pictures of them fighting. They look pretty cool. And now, I know you're all saying, but what about an SH figure art? Are you going to bring a Decade? Even though Decade would be cool with this Godzilla, no. I am going to bring in an Ultra. Ultraman. Tiga! Yeah. And yes, Tiga is shorter than Godzilla. However, the scaling actually works out between these two because people in a suit, when it comes to Ultraman, are taller than people that are in monster suits. The guys that were in the Ultra suits are somehow, they look shorter than the monsters. And actually, in the Ultra series, they reused the Godzilla suit. So this works extremely well with this guy, especially if you're going to do some stop motion animation. And basically, yeah, that's it. If you guys want, I do know there is an actual tutorial on YouTube on how to make your own Monsterarts actual breath effects for Final Wars Godzilla. One of them actually is a hyper spiral beam breath. So yeah, that's it for me. Hopefully you guys found this informative and you guys have fun with whatever stuff you're doing. Well then, this is Christmas Lightning. Wish you for the lightning. Protect you guys. See you around.